Hey, Trumpsters. Sitting here at a rugby game in Buffalo. And you know what? Rugby's kind of like politics, isn't it? Especially if you're a Republican right now. The Republican Party's been beating itself up since we had 17 candidates running in the primary. Unfortunately, we've got a reality star host named Donald Trump in the way. We're getting Ted Cruz, the real conservative, from the get-go, the nomination of the Republican Party. I see that as a huge problem. We've been clamoring for decades for a candidate who can lead the country back on track, restore the Constitution into a country which is based on the Constitution, where all our rights are protected and delineated as far as the powers of government. We all know that the states are supposed to have the majority of the power, not the federal government in Washington, D.C. So what's the problem? The problem is that Donald Trump knows how to arouse everybody's emotions in a negative way just by calling people names. And people forget that although building a wall and protecting the borders are important, and bringing American companies back to the United States is also important so that we can employ our nation, our people of the country, they forget that it's not the end-all be-all. To accomplish all that, you need the country to be brought back to its roots, which is the Constitution, which places personal freedoms above all else. Donald Trump doesn't believe in that. All you got to do is follow the money. You know, an investor invests in a company in hopes of making more money. He doesn't invest in a company and then go after it, trying to tear it down. Like Donald Trump. He's invested in liberal causes, Planned Parenthood. He's invested in Hillary Clinton. He's invested in Chuck Schumer. Countless other liberals. All his beliefs are on the left. And the left, if you knew anything, was all about socialism. Especially on social issues. Abortion. LGBT issues. Well, if you want to be LGBT, that's fine. Go ahead, be LGBT. But why do you got to legislate LGBT? Common sense doesn't get legislated. It just is. But unfortunately, we have to legislate things because we all know common sense is against that, just normally. So you legislate it so that you can put people on a political defensive. So what I'm saying to you is, get your head out of your ass and stop looking for Donald Trump to yell and scream his way to the top, because all he's going to do is change the Republican platform to be a pro-choice platform. He's going to promote LGBT into our schools and our children. He may even bring back universal health care ideas because he supported and still says he wants everybody to be covered by insurance. And we all know that since managed care has been on the scene of healthcare, prices have only gone up. Medicare, Medicaid, they haven't brought prices down. Prices have gone up. Regulations have gone up. More attorneys have been involved. The more people you have between the doctor and the patient, the higher costs are going to be, regardless of the facade and the smoke screens of lower costs, because cost never goes down. Taxes never go down. Just look at your property tax bill. When was the last time it went down without a special program application? It's all a joke. And anybody who believes that is ridiculous. It doesn't think properly. So I'm asking you guys, who are true conservatives, who have a choice between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, choose Cruz. He may not be perfect. He may not be the best looking guy in the world, and his oratory skills may remind you of a preacher. But you know what? I'd rather have a guy not be the best looking. I'd rather have a guy who talks like a preacher. At least he speaks clearly about what he believes in. He believes in lower taxes, getting rid of the IRS, getting rid of Common Core. How about getting rid of the entire Department of Education? I'm sure we can get rid of other departments too, if we really think about it. Let's bring our money back home and stop giving it to foreign countries. They shouldn't get any of our money. Bring it back home. Invest in the United States. That's what Cruz is all about. Donald Trump, you really don't know. Because just a year ago, he was a liberal, social liberal, still is a social liberal, and all he does is yell and scream. So here I am sitting in Buffalo, New York at a rugby game where two teams are fighting and clawing to get to the end line. There's no socialism in rugby. You know, you use your teammates to move the ball up and down the field. You follow the rules, which is like the Constitution, and within that framework, you can win or lose the game. Right? Nobody's going to come in from on the sidelines and start adding another runner onto the field or another tackler onto the field or any obstacles of that nature. What you have is what you have on the field. And when you score a touchdown, even though one individual gets it, sure, it pads his stats, but you know what? It was a team effort. And that's what the government's supposed to be. It's supposed to help us pursue our happiness. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders will never be on a rugby field. Donald Trump is never going to be on a rugby field. Can you imagine Donald Trump on a rugby field? It would be a joke. I don't know what else to say, but Ted Cruz is following the rules. He's getting his delegates according to the rules. The deal maker himself, the great Donald Trump, can't even make deals with delegates to support him. The art of the deal. It seems like Ted Cruz knows more about the art of the deal than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's art of the deal is compromise. Compromise. Moving backwards from conservative principles. So look, vote in Ted Cruz. Let him be a Republican nominee. But you know what? The job's not done there. We need to get all these bozos out of Congress so that we can start restoring the Constitution the way it's supposed to be back. But we need Congress who's going to have courage to stand up for truth, for the Constitution as well. You can't just have a president do it. And together, we can restore the country back the way it should be. Let's take the country back to the future, back to the Constitution. So that being said, vote for Ted Cruz.